Entertaining guests is fun, but also a hassle. It doesn't have to be so difficult. You can just make a freezer door martini. Freezer door martinis are a fantastic hack to make multiple of one cocktail that's pre-diluted at the right temperature, so you don't have to be stirring up a drink for every single person who comes into your home. First, you're gonna need a bottle. Make sure you wash it out and it's sanitized. And another really helpful tool is gonna be a funnel, because in order to pour into the bottle, you need this. As with lots of other martinis, gin is such a huge category and you can pull from lots of different styles and flavors. One of them that I particularly love happens to be Forbes gin. There is a little bit of emphasis on chamomile on this and it works really well in a martini. Fun hack is that if you use this bottle and use it in its entirety, it has a measurement line here, so you can actually reuse this bottle and repurpose it to always make your freezer door martinis because it has the lines already in there. You're going to need a measuring cup, and you also need to know how big your bottle is. This is a 1 liter bottle, which is 33.81 ounces, or roughly 32 ounces. Always make sure that you're keeping a lot of space for some of the air on top. For this, we are doing roughly a 2-1-1 ratio, meaning 2 parts gin, 1 part vermouth, and 1 part water. All right, we are gonna start with about 15 ounces of gin. If you're somebody who likes a bit more gin heavy martinis, you absolutely can do that, but here I'm trying to keep a good ratio across the board. With a ratio of 2-1-1, it means that both the vermouth and the water are gonna come in between 6 to 8 ounces. Depends how heavy you want the vermouth. So I kind of like to crack it up to be about 7 ounces of vermouth that's going to go into this martini. Make sure it's an extra dry vermouth. If you get a sweet vermouth, it's not gonna turn out the right way. And if you get a Bianco or Blanc vermouth, it's gonna maybe be a touch bit more floral or sweet than you want it to be. At this point, you can just fill it to the top with water because we know how many ounces it's gonna be, but for consistency's sake, let's measure out our water. I do like to use a filtered water or a natural water source because that's going to yield the best quality martini. But honestly, if you're just using the tap, like I live here in New York City, that stuff is great in your martini. You might be saying, Pam, why are we adding water to this martini if it's going to the freezer? Well, we're not adding any more dilution after it comes out of the freezer. A martini is normally stirred over ice, which not only cools it down, but also dilutes it properly before it's served. So here, we're omitting the ice and we're using water instead and freezing it at the perfect temperature so you can just pour and serve. Ooh, this fits in beautifully to our martini board. So this has been sitting at least for 12 hours in the freezer. You can see it's frosted over. We also pre-frosted our martini glasses, and you make a nice board with lots of different accoutrements. So you have all of your different types of garnishes here. You can add some snacks to it too, but this is honestly the perfect hosting opportunity. And as promised before, it is pre-diluted, ready to go, and it's ready to pour. It is pretty cold, so you don't want too much contact with the bottle. And you can see that stunning texture of the martini. The freezing point actually makes it a little bit more viscous and a little bit thicker in texture. It just has to do with what happens with the temperature in regard to the martini. And now it's up to you. A cocktail onion is such a fun option, and when you add it to a martini, it's called a Gibson. It's a really different experience, and if you've never tried one before, why not? You got nothing to lose.